So hello everyone, it's Randy from Dreamy Bohemian, and I am coming on today to talk about the collage challenge that we have going on in Bohodaydreams, the Facebook group. So we are going to do a 52-week challenge, one collage per week that will be loaded into the events section into the Facebook group, Bohodaydreams. So we hope that you'll come join us if you're already in the group. And if you're not in the group, please look for us. Bohodaydreams is the name of it. You have to answer all the questions to join, but we will get you in and you can sign up for the challenge. It's just going to be fun, no pressure. The whole challenge is about learning and growing. If you do collage already, you kind of know how this goes. You work through whatever you choose to work through. I'm going to work through this and I'll show you this in just a minute. Save your collages and you just kind of see what your progress is through the year, what you learn. Just enjoying the process. Not rushing to get it done. You have a whole week to get the collage done. The prompts are not going to be provided ahead of time. I really want this to be about being in the moment, not hurrying up to get something done. To me, that's not learning anything when you're just kind of doing to get it done. I know a lot of people like to do that. I'd really like to take a step back and slow us down a little bit. Let's work through the process. Let's have fun. Let's learn something about ourselves. So that's the basics of what this 52-week collage challenge is about. And I really hope that you'll join us over there. So there's going to be 3 to 5, usually about 4. And if you have a specific collage prompt that you would like me to use, please put it down in the comment section. I already have, multiple things going on here. This is going to be like a little bonus for people who are more advanced in collaging. That will be optional, and then these are the things that we'll choose from throughout the weeks. And I could use some more prompts if you have anything that you like to do specifically. And if it's already in there, and I'm not going to respond and say, got it, using it, or whatever. Just put it down there. And if I haven't already got it in here, I'll be happy to put it in here. So I wanted to go through what I'm going to use and to give you a little bit of basics for the people who don't collage already. So this book is an old happy planner that I bought at Michael's, and if you can see, it has these disc rings on it. And the really cool thing about this, and that I'm going to enjoy about this, is that you can take out pages, and so you can work on a flat surface. I could take this out, close up my book, and then work on this and then put it back in when it dries and when it's done with no issues. So I've got the whole year of this planner. Right now I only have through September, but I need to put some more in. I just kind of wanted to keep it a little skinny for right now. But so since it is already a planner and it already has the months in it, oops, that's my first collage. I'll talk about that in a minute. I thought it would be a wonderful way to keep up with the weeks and it be organized. And the paper is not super thick, but it's not super thin either. The first collage I did, which I'll show you in a minute. I hope I'm staying in frame here. I just did on one side. I could technically do it on 2 sides, but I'm not sure that I want to do that. And I might just do that for some weeks and not all the weeks. Elaine Larkin, who is in our group as an admin and is doing the collage challenge. She has a video up as well about the book that she's going to use to do her collages in. And so I'll link her video down below for anybody who wants to go check that out and see what she's using. So this is just what I'm going to be using. I do like these, the month tabs. They're a little bit thicker, but I'm just going to try. Let's see, I've already done some fun stuff in here. I'm going to have to take this stuff out, but just to make it flat for me. But so this is what I'm going to use, and I'm really excited about that I thought about this, because I do like that the pages come out. The book that Elaine said that she was using has the pages that come out as well. So some collage basics, and I'm not an expert. So people who haven't collaged before and who have joined the challenge, I've listed some basic supplies, I think, in there. And I've asked everybody to kind of list their favorite tip for collaging. We didn't get a whole lot of responses in there. I'm not sure everybody saw it, but I just wanted to show you a few things so you could actually see something. So let me move this out of the way. So glue sticks are a really easy thing to use for collage. Now, I do like the acid-free because it doesn't turn things yellow. Over time, glue will yellow on your pages, and it will kind of age it. And if you're good with that, you know, there's no issues there. But so I've got this Oohoo, and I'm not even sure if this is acid-free or not, but I know this one is, and I think I got this on Amazon. It's OIC. Anyway, you know, glue sticks are easy to find. They're pretty cheap, so you can use that. Now, it's easy to stick things down with a glue stick. However, they're not going to stay on permanently. So what I'm going to use is some Liquitex matte medium. And this is more liquidy than what I'm used to. I'm used to using something like this. But I'm going to try this and see how that works. So this matte gel is a lot thicker than the liquid is. Let's see if I can get it open here. So it's very pasty, and the liquid is obviously, can you hear that, liquidy. So I'll see if I like this or not. I obviously can go back to this. I have some in there. I don't know that it would get me through the whole year, but Liquitex is a good brand, and I like to get the matte, and I'll tell you why. Because in collage, we use a lot of magazine pages and cut things out from magazines, and they're glossy. So when you put this matte gel on there, and I read a little bit on this matte medium, the fluid, and it talked about matting the glossy down. It's actually to put in acrylic paint to make it matte. And so I know it will be matte when I put it on a collage. So we'll see how that works out. But the matte medium is good. That's what I prefer. Now you can use Mod Podge. You can get multiple finishes in this one. I just happen to have gloss, and I don't prefer the gloss. I like the matte. This is just kind of what I had from crafting over the years, and you know, it's 100 years old, but it's still good in there. And you can make Mod Podge by yourself at home if you have some. This is what they call PVA glue. It's just school glue. It's just white glue. You can do equal parts water and glue in a jar and put a lid on it, and it'll do the same thing as Mod Podge. So moving on, gesso is a really good thing to have to kind of push your images back and create depth in your collage. And I've also been known to use acrylic paint when I haven't had gesso. This is a bright white. Now, you don't have to get bright white, but this says it's an acrylic primer as well. So if you have a piece of paper and it's got something on it and you don't want that to show through, you can paint over it with this acrylic primer, this golden gesso. So that will get rid of the background for you, and then you can create your own background. You can do that. You can do the same thing with the acrylic paint. I'm not sure that it will cover it up as nicely because this is pretty thick. But this is fun to do, your accents and push back. And I'll show you the tool that, this is like just a little palette knife. Some people paint with it, but I use it for gesso. And as you can see, I never really clean it off because I kind of like the crunchy on there. It gives me a little bit of texture when I put it on. It doesn't let me be too heavy-handed. So there's that. Those are really what I consider to be basics. Now the tools that you'll need. So obviously you're going to need scissors and some paintbrushes. Sometimes you're going to need a smaller one to get in a little smaller area. I like to have some tweezers on hand. These happen to be long tweezers to pick up pieces that are really small if you're working with something, or to put something down, in some glue and you don't want to get all your fingers in it. So that works really well for picking up small pieces, deciding where you want things and things like that. So I always have those. I have a bone folder, but you can also use, a credit card or a gift card or whatever to smooth out any wrinkles that you might get. Just use that gently. I like to use that a lot. The bone folder isn't as flat, and so sometimes it doesn't do that, but it's good kind of for the corners when you need something that's maybe not as harsh, because this is a little rounded. So I use a couple pair of scissors, some fussy cutting scissors that are smaller. You can get into smaller spaces, and then just a regular pair of scissors. You don't have to have special scissors. Just don't use your fabric scissors on the paper. And then you probably don't want to use very good paintbrushes because if you're sticking it in glue, it might not come out. I tend to have some water and I just kind of stick my paintbrushes down in that when I'm done, and then I wash them out. But I would say these are the 3 basic paintbrushes that you would need. Just a larger one for larger areas, so it'll cover more area, and so it doesn't take you forever. And this is kind of, in between, and then a small one for those little tiny pieces you might be putting glue on the piece instead of on your paper. So that's just kind of what I work with. And then the palette knife, I just stick mine down in the gesso, and then I kind of scrape off what I don't want. And then this, I'll just show you here, like you just kind of take it over an accent. Obviously there's no paint on here, but that's kind of how you use it. You just drag it. You don't put too much on. It's just a little bit of an accent, just enough to give you an optical illusion that image that you're working on is a little further back in there. So now the big question is, where in the heck do I get images to collage with? And honestly, I look everywhere. So, I mean, you probably have sources for images in your home, just in your magazines. This is just something that I picked up at a garage sale. It's paper doilies, and those are really cool. You can use tissue paper. I've put some things back here I've got like an image that I like, and some things in here. So some tissue paper, some sewing pattern paper, some paper doilies, wrapping paper, which is actually one of the first prompts for the first week. One of the other prompts is an owl, and so I went through some of my books, some of my bird books, and then cut out some owls that I liked. And I just kind of saved them and put them in here. And then, like, here's a little angel was another one, and here's a little tiny angel. I didn't use her, but I used another one. Some stamped images, some things out of Somerset Studio magazine. I love looking in there for really cool images. A postcard, which I don't really like the thickness of that for a collage, but if you have to, you could use that. I like thin scrap paper for some background stuff. Here's another stamped image, a feather. So in there, I mean, you know, that's like 10 things you could use in there already. And then I always cut out words, so I just have started a little thing here. So any words that you might like when you're cutting out an image, if you find any words on that page, I just save them like in a little thing here. You can use wallpaper. This is some textured wallpaper for texture. You could distress that. You could paint that. You could do whatever you want. You have your basic music paper, ledger paper for backgrounds. You know, all these things. We have a really neat local magazine here, and it's called the O. Henry, and it's got some really cool images in it. So I like to go through here and kind of see what's in here, and I use things. I mean, look at these cool images. That's some black and white. There's a little hummingbird. I mean, you know, there's a lot of advertisements in here. There's a castle. There's some people, which we'll be using some people in our collage. Some fruit, you know, all these neat things that you might come across. Even just a color. So, especially like this, that's really, it's got some good depth to it. And that's a good background for a collage. And look at this funky thing right here. Like if we're doing, that's a collage in itself. Some kind of funky collage. You could use that as a background. And you could push it back, you know, with the gesso and put tissue paper over it or whatever. The other object of this is to really get your imagination going and think outside the box. So I don't want you to use your images as what they're supposed to be maybe all the time. Maybe I'll get out my collage here and I'll show you. Now, this is my first one, so don't judge. But the first week prompts, which is just one day, by the way, because January the 1st is the whole week. You know what I mean? So it's just that one day. So I want to start on the Sunday and go through the Saturday for the week. So that's kind of when the calendar comes up in Facebook for the events. That's just how it's laid out. And so that's how I want to start those weeks. So it's easy to differentiate between the weeks and you know what day they start. But so owl, angel, a quote, and wrapping paper. So I just kind of made my own quote. This is that wrapping paper that I used. I cut it out and I just used it as stars. I used the owl from my book and I put like it was perched on this limb. I actually used 3 angels, and 2 of them really aren't angels at all. They just looked like angels to me, and so I made them angels. This is an image out of Somerset Studio, I believe. And I altered her. So I put these flowers on top of her head. I painted the stars. Um, this lady, I think, came out of there as well. I saved a yellow piece of paper, and let's see if I still have it. One of those. It actually came out of the bird book, and it was just a strip of this gold. And so I wanted this statue to be an angel, so I just cut out and made her a halo. And then I used one of those small little angels that I showed you. Can you see that? Yeah. So my background is some jelly plate paper, a piece of the bird book. I thought that was cool. It looked like the night sky and the moon is peeking out behind there. And so this collage isn't too crazy. It's not weird. It's not surreal. It's just, it was just really pleasing to my eye, so I liked it. And I kind of like a lot going on. I like to look and see what's going on in there and pick out different things. Um, so just an idea that you're not going to take images and let me get something out here. We'll just play for a minute. So I don't want your collage to be owl. We'll pretend this is an angel. Angel, owl. We'll say this is wrapping paper. Wrapping paper, quote. You know what I mean? Like, it's not supposed to be 3 things stuck down with a quote and then you're done. Here's that yellow paper. Because you've got all this around here. So make yourself a background. Make it be whatever you want. I mean, put a rainbow back there. Put something crazy. I don't know. Whatever your fancy is. Look up collages on YouTube and watch what people collage. They make the coolest things. You know, I'm kind of, I don't know what you would call it, a more romantic type collager, I think, than surreal. But I might get into that. Who knows where my journey is going to take me through this year. So, so yes to backgrounds, no to sticking 3 things on the paper and calling it done. Okay. If you have to do that, and that's the only way you can collage, do it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying the spirit of this is to try something new, learn something new, step out of your comfort zone, and I don't know, just kind of go with it and see where it takes you. So I hope that you'll have fun with this process, is my goal, to learn something about yourself. You know, you might want to write a quote every week for your collage, because you know, we've all been having a year, right? All this things that are going on in the world, and we've got a lot of emotions going on this year. So write your feelings down. You know, when you're done posting, journal on it. You know, it doesn't have to be just a collage book. It can be a journal for you. The back page can be your journaling. You know, do whatever feels good for you. So I just wanted to talk about a little more paper things, I guess, that you could use. So let's see. I was going down the list here. Junk mail. You can find some really funky things in junk mail. Newspaper, old newspaper that might not smear. You have to test for smearing if you're not just using a glue stick. If you're going to use some matte medium, just test for the smearing factor before you commit to it. You can use digi kits. You can cut things out of DigiKits. You can use the background papers. I have one here that I don't remember where I got this from, but it's beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? And like you could rip this up. I mean, you could just use a flower if one of the prompts was a flower, or a garden, or whatever. I mean, you could do all kinds of fun things with that. Coffee dyed paper, you know, that is always a staple. We have paper that I have done on the jelly plate in multiple colors. And just so you know, jelly plate doesn't have to be done on jelly plate. I mean, it's not called jelly plate at that point. It's painty papers. But I have done them, just laid out some saran wrap or something smooth, a piece of plastic, and just painted on the paper, and before I had a jelly plate, just to see what would happen. And that was really fun too. All right, let's see. So magazines we went over. Books. Obviously I got those birds from a book. The napkins, the thin scrapbook paper, the tissue paper, washi tape you can use. It's nice and thin. You can pick up magazines and books at garage sale and thrift shops for pretty cheap. So this shouldn't end up being an expensive process, because you can make your own Mod Podge. This is not, this is a little expensive, but you don't have to get the expensive kind. There's Collage Podge out there. The reason I didn't order Collage Podge is because it was going to take too long to get here. So I wanted to have that. Just don't use glue that's, is this tacky glue? Something that is like a wet glue, and I know that doesn't make sense, that's water-based, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because it's gonna crinkle up your paper and you don't want those crinkles. Now you could set it in between some heavy books and flatten it out. That would help afterwards if that's all you have to use, you know, and all you want to purchase. So it's not that you can't use it, it's just a little harder to work with because you're going to get those ripples. So I think that is it in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to put the link to the group down in the comments or the description box, and Elaine's video. And like I said, if you have any questions or want to put any prompts that you prefer or you would like to see in this challenge, go ahead and do that. Put that in there. And I hope you'll like and subscribe to my channel. And just come join us in the fun. I'm going to try to do a collage every week on YouTube for the challenge. I work, so I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be able to get all the weeks, but I'm going to try. So we'll see how that goes. And I hope you'll join us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you later.